Happy Friday. Thank you so much for joining us. We've done a lot of education about looking at the body as a whole when it comes to supporting our health. So many parts of our body impacts other aspects of our wellness. This is extremely true when speaking about menstruation and the immune system. The immune system is involved in so many aspects of our health, including our skin, digestion, and so much more. When we are menstruating, it can disrupt what's going on in our immune system and make some of our problem even worse. This is why we're so glad to be joined today by Dr. Setare Taabodi-Wilkoff. Dr. Setare is a doctor of nursing practice, natural medicine health consultant, and CEO and founder of Star Health and Wellness. During this live, we're going to discuss how menstruation impacts the immune system, things you can do to boost your immunity, and histamine intolerance.
Oh, hi, Jenna. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Perfect.
great.
Tell us a little bit about your background, like how you became a natural medicine health consultant.
Yeah, so my journey was kind of long to get to this point, but my training as I'm a board certified family nurse practitioner. I ended up getting really sick in my early 20s. That kind of launched me into this whole different world of natural medicine. But when I graduated with my bachelor's, I started working in the intensive care unit, and I ended up getting food poisoning from the hospital cafeteria, and that triggered a host of autoimmune conditions. I developed things like postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, or POTS. I developed Hashimoto's, thyroiditis. I developed SIBO, or small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and chronic fatigue syndrome, eczema, and the list goes on. And that kind of launched me into this like journey to heal my body. And I tried conventional medicine, and that wasn't working. And I tried everything from functional medicine to Ayurveda to traditional Chinese medicine. And eventually in 2018, I came across the Medical Medium books by Anthony William, and I started implementing a low-fat plant-based diet and other natural healing remedies like herbal medicine and vitamins. And within 6 months, I was completely off of my medications. And then at that time, I was also going to graduate school, getting my doctorate in nursing. And then by the time I graduated in 2021, I realized that I no longer wanted to work at the conventional medicine model. And then I started my health practice at the end of 2021. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. And I primarily help people with neurological conditions, dysautonomia, digestive issues, and thyroid disorders. But truly any type of chronic health condition or mystery illness.
Wow. Wow. This is so cool. It is like I'm very loaded.
Yeah, people always ask, like, how did she get into this? I'm like, well, how long do you have? Because it's been a long journey.
I mean, this is also kind of echoing back to, because your bio on your website also mentioned that you were very frustrated by the lack of time you spent with patients due to paperwork, insurance, inquiries. Do you think people need more personalized care?
I do. Yeah. I think when I was working in the conventional model, I just didn't feel like I was doing a very good job. I wasn't proud of the work that I was doing. I don't think 20 minutes is enough to truly get to know someone and understand their lifestyle and what they do and what they eat and how they sleep and what their stress is like. And on top of trying to, prescribe them medications and order their labs, their diagnostics and follow-ups, and, then write a note to insurance saying that you did all that stuff. So it's not a very ideal place to provide personalized care.
I can totally echo. Before I also went back to grad school, I was a dietitian. So also working in a conventional model, I remember we would only have about 15 minutes to consult a patient. Then we would have to charge for an hour. So there's no way you can change someone's diet in like 15 minutes. There's just no way.
Exactly.
You also have a root cause approach working with, clients. What does that mean to you?
To me, a root cause approach means treating the underlying cause. I think in conventional medicine, we're really great about treating symptoms, right? We know We don't know what causes the high blood pressure, but we can bring it down with medications. Or we know that people with arthritis have inflammation. We don't know what causes the inflammation, but we know there is inflammation. So then we treat it with things like NSAIDs and steroids that bring down inflammation, which is great, but also offer a host of side effects as well that do not benefit the patient either.
Yeah. So today we're talking about the immune system, a lot of our health and uncomfortable symptoms that both can be tied to the immune system. Explain high level, like what is the immune system and how it can help us or also cause unwanted symptoms.
Yeah, I think there is a misconception that the immune system can potentially work against us, but I think it's also always really important to remember that the immune system is always working for us. There's this theory that, in the autoimmune theory, that the body attacks itself, but that's never been proven by science. It's just a theory, and it's something we blame every chronic illness on. We say, oh, it's autoimmune, and that just means we don't know what's causing it. So I really do think the immune system, really truly only becomes active with toxins and pathogens. So anything foreign that should not be there. That's the only time your body really wants to mount an immune response. And our immune system is, it's very complex, but our entire body is designed to protect us from foreign invaders and pathogens and toxins and things like that. Unfortunately, we're just living in a world where there's just a lot more of them. So our body gets very overwhelmed. And we have things like our white blood cells. We have things that our lymphatic system and our lymph nodes that try to trap and engulf pathogens from spreading. We have things like our spleen that stores extra white blood cells in your bone marrow where they're created. We have our skin that protects us. We have our mucous membranes that protect us. We have mucus and cilia and like little hairs inside our nose that all try to protect us from pathogens. And sometimes those systems can get very overwhelmed, and then we develop illness or an infection.
So all of these things can actually trigger the immune system.
Yeah. Toxins, pathogens. Yeah.
And what is histamine intolerance? And then, how do toxins play a role in it?
Oh, that's a good question. So I think there is a misconception with histamine intolerance that it's due to an overactive immune system, because with histamine, there's usually mast cells. So mast cells release histamine, and then we're like, oh, it must be an issue with the immune system. When in actuality, the reason that we have histamine issues or histamine intolerance is a liver issue. Our liver is essentially the filter of the body. And when our liver is really overburdened with poisons, those poisons can leak into our bloodstream. And then all these foreign things that shouldn't be in our blood start floating around, and our body says, what is this? So then we mount an immune response, and our body releases mast cells, and those mast cells release histamine, and we develop really uncomfortable symptoms. So the root cause is not an immune system issue, it's actually a liver issue. So cleaning up the liver is key.
Now, coming back to immunity and the menstruation, why do people experience immune system related flare-up during menstruation?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So what I learned was when we menstruate, our immune system drops by 80%. So we only have 20% of our immune system towards our general immune functions, and 80% of that goes towards the reproductive system in hopes of creating a healthy baby and a healthy pregnant woman, because that's what our body tries to do every month, right? Wants to get pregnant. So so during that time, it's really common to have worsening symptoms. I'll have so many clients tell me that their symptoms flare around that time. So if they have chronic migraines or chronic UTIs or other chronic health conditions, their symptoms usually get worse around that time. They will also develop other really uncomfortable symptoms. A lot of my clients will tell me that they have worsening acne, or where they'll develop vaginal discharge or yeast infections around them or right before their menstrual cycles. And that's because the immune system is really low during that time. And when we have chronic infections in the body, usually bacteria and viruses, those have an opportunity to flare up at that point because they get to be more active because our immune system is distracted now. We only have 20% of it, right? So now our immune system is down, and those pathogens are saying, hey, the army's away, let's become a little bit more active. And then we develop worsening symptoms. So it really comes down to supporting the immune system. And we live in a world where anytime a woman experiences a symptom, we blame it on hormones, when in actuality, it's not hormones. It's usually, it's low-grade infections in the body.
What about stress? Could stress actually weaken the immune system and also make this link to menstruation even worse?
Yeah, I think we all can agree that stress really weakens the immune system. I think we've all gone through a stressful event and then we get sick afterwards, or we develop a cold sore, or we get a sinus infection or a UTI or something like that. So I really do think stress can definitely contribute to a weakened immune system and worsening symptoms. Um, but obviously bringing in things like adequate rest is really, really important. I think we can all feel better after a good night's rest. I know when I kind of feeling maybe a little bit under the weather, I go to bed early and I usually wake up feeling fine the next day. So yeah, that's definitely a trigger for sure.
What are the things then you can do to support your immune system during the menstruation then, all year long?
Oh yeah, that's that's a pretty loaded question. So there's a lot of components to that. So um, I think nutrition is really the foundation of our health and our immune system. So obviously, bringing in an abundance of fruits and vegetables is really key here. So truly, most fruits and vegetables are very, very healthy for us. So, but there are ones that are a little bit stronger and more powerful. Like honey, I think is amazing. Honey is like
Mhm.
to me, honey is nature's antibiotic. So I always recommend bringing things like raw honey. I think that's really great for us. Berries are amazing for us. Wild blueberries are amazing. Raw leafy greens are amazing. Things like raw garlic and onion are also amazing. Um, some aromatic herbs can be really amazing, like rosemary and thyme. Those are all really, really great. Um, Bringing in things like turmeric or ginger is also really great. Apples are really great. Bananas are really great. Truly, any really good fruits, vegetables are really good. So bringing in those healing foods, and then also removing foods that could potentially feed pathogens in the body. And I know this is like a little bit more difficult to implement, but removing things like gluten, dairy, eggs, those are not necessarily the best things for us. And obviously, if some people who have stronger immune systems can tolerate those foods fine, and they feel great when they eat those foods. But if you are dealing with health symptoms, I would really strongly recommend removing those foods, and also removing things like seed oils or canola oil. I think is really, really key. I don't think anyone feels good when they have canola oil. Other things that you can remove also are things like soy, corn, pork, things like that, and just essentially removing a lot of like unproductive fats from the diet. I think fatty foods are just not good for us in general. I think that's a generally well accepted thing. So reducing fat intake is really, really important as well. So that's one component of supporting your immune system. The other is we have all of these really amazing herbs and supplements that we can bring into our lives. And I do think that we live in a world where we do need supplements because with modern day farming techniques, our foods are not as nutrient dense and we're really lacking in those things. So I think vitamins are really important. I think zinc is one of those things that's really everyone on this planet, I think, is deficient in zinc. So bringing in zinc is really, really important. I also think vitamin C is very, very important. I think a lot of people say like, oh, I take like 500 milligrams of vitamin C a day, but in actuality, I think we take a lot more. So, I think, obviously you work with your provider and things like that, but we can take a lot of vitamin C and our body really, really likes it. And other things that we can do is support the immune system with herbal medicines. There are so many antiviral, antibacterial, antiparasitic herbals that we can bring in that really support the immune system. So I really love bringing in things like lemon balm or cat's claw, golden seal, mullein, lomatium, monolaurin. Those are all really great for the immune system. L-lysine is a really great antiviral. So if you were dealing with any type of neurological symptoms around your menstrual cycle, bringing in antivirals is really important. If you were dealing with any bacterial symptoms like acne or BV or yeast infections, that's a really good indicator that you have an underlying bacterial infection. So bringing in antibacterial herbs like castor flower, golden seal, or oregano oil are really, really great for that. And the idea is that once you support your immune system every day, when your body takes that 80% hit around the menstrual cycle, you won't have symptoms because your immune system is really strong. And I think there's this in our society, we have accepted that it's normal for women to not feel good around their menstrual cycle. It's like, oh, she's achy, she doesn't feel good, she's having a migraine. When in actuality, those symptoms are not normal and they should not be considered normal. They're they're common, but they're not normal. So I think it's really important that we not accept that as a normal thing and really take action to support our immune systems. And another time of the month that our immune system actually takes a hit is around ovulation as well. That usually happens 2 weeks after the start of your menstrual cycle if you have regular periods. And the immune system drops by 40% around that time towards the reproductive system. So you only have 60% of your your immune system army. So that's another time that people can flare as well. So if you are doing daily immune support throughout your life, you really can prevent those symptoms from occurring. And when I was really sick, my immune system was obviously very low. I would always have worsening symptoms around my menstrual cycle. And then once I started supporting my immune system every day, I don't have symptoms. And, before I would get like the sore breasts or, I feel really achy or uncomfortable or really tired. And that was kind of my sign, like, oh, I'm going to start my menstrual cycle. But now I don't have symptoms really. Like I'll forget, I don't even realize my period's about to come, right? Which is great because it's good and bad. You're not getting the alerts from your alert system from your body, but also it's nice to not have symptoms, right? So I think it's really, really important. And other things that we can do is we can support our reproductive health. So bringing in more fruits and vegetables is really, really important. Getting adequate rest and stress reduction, all that good stuff. But there are actually really amazing herbal medicines that we can bring into our lives that support the reproductive system as well. So if you are someone who deals with things like endometriosis, fibroids, PCOS, things like that, certain herbs like nettle is amazing. It's like one of the #1 reproductive health herbs. So you can drink it as a tea or a tincture or a capsule. It's really amazing for that. Raspberry leaf, I know that you can drink it as a tea, which is something that I really love doing. I think there are tinctures available as well, but I always recommend the tea because it actually tastes very good as well. That's amazing for reproductive health. Other things like Vitex or chasteberry, you'll see it named those two things, amazing for reproductive health. Red clover is amazing. Rose hips is amazing. So we have so many tools in nature that are available to us to really support our bodies so that we don't get sick around ovulation or our menstrual cycles.
Oh my God. I think people often even though there's a lot of tools, people often get overwhelmed if they don't have like proper guidance. And I know you have coaching services. So please tell us about that. What does a session look like and then how can people work with you?
Yeah. I guess it is really overwhelming. Yeah, it is. It can be. But so for what I offer for my coaching services is I offer coaching packages, and basically our first session will be 90 minutes. I'll have my clients fill out a comprehensive intake form and upload any recent lab work that they've had done. And then during our first session, we'll create their own individualized healing protocol. And we'll do everything from meal plans to grocery lists to supplement recommendations, to lifestyle changes to non-toxic living. We do everything together. And then we follow up every month or so. And my clients, I also offer them unlimited messaging access to me. So if they have any questions or they have a symptom come up, they can message me and I'll respond within 24 hours. So that's included in the coaching packages. I also do have a POTS course that I believe will probably launch at the end of the year. So that's an option for people as well. But yeah, and then obviously my social media, I offer a lot of like health advice there if people were interested in just learning more.
So cool. Actually, we have very engaged audience, and then we have 2 questions actually sent before this IG.
Oh, okay.
One of the question is what to do about headaches and migraines and during menstrual cycle.
Oh, that's a really good question. So the underlying causes of headaches and migraines is usually a viral condition. So I think bringing antiviral support before and during is really key. So some of the antiviral supports that I talked about, like you can bring in certain herbs like lemon balm is really, really amazing for migraines. And then also like bringing in that food support is really, really important. I also love like other things like there's like these really amazing like migraine like ice caps that I've seen recently that I think are really, really helpful. But yeah, I think if you are, your goal is to treat the underlying causes, get on an antiviral protocol.
Hugely important. Another one is how to deal with POTS flare during menstruation.
Yeah. So there's a couple of things we can do. Is the biggest thing is with POTS, there's a viral issue as well. So antivirals is really, really important. Supporting the immune system is really key. So bringing in, extra vitamin support is really important. Bringing in more antiviral support is really important. There's also something that it's available in the medical meeting books in it's in the Brain Saver Protocols book, but there's something called shock therapies. So if your immune system is really, really down and you need rapid support quickly, you can bring in some of these shock therapies. So there's something called lemon balm shock therapy that you take the antiviral herb lemon balm. One, it's also very soothing to the nervous system. So it's a really great herb for any type of neurological symptom. So the idea is you bring in a certain dose every few hours for 3 to 5 days, and that will really suppress that viral load so that your symptoms go away. And there's several other herbals and vitamin shock therapies that you can try to help support your immune system in a more aggressive way to take your symptoms away, if that makes sense.
That is amazing. And lemon balm, like, it smells good, like, tastes good.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. The teas are amazing. And if you're sensitive, bringing in teas versus capsules or tinctures are obviously more recommended there. But if you can tolerate the tinctures, I definitely recommend taking more if you need to.
Amazing. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
I'm trying to think. I think it's really important for people to know that their bodies are capable of healing. I think we live in a world where we're just kind of told, like, sorry, like, this is your diagnosis, and like you're just going to have this diagnosis forever. But I think, once you get to the root cause of it and identify it, our bodies can recover from a lot more than we're made to believe. So I think just having that hope and having that faith and doing the research is really, really important. And then the foundation of health is truly our nutrition. So really focusing on that if you can. And then bringing in those additional sports that I talked about earlier, I think are really, really beneficial for us.
Amazing. And if you get overwhelmed, contact Dr.
Yeah.
Course, and also go through the POTS breakthrough course, and then also book a coaching session. I think having some guidance is definitely really important.
Definitely.
Thank you so much for sharing all your knowledge with us. This is like, wow, fully loaded. I felt like I have to go back and watch and then like jot out all the supplements that you mentioned.
Yeah. Oh, God. I'm so glad you found it helpful. Thank you, Jenna, so much for having me.
Thank you so much. Have a good weekend.
Okay, you too. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.